And it occurred to me after watching what they were doing in other states as we were going along, and y'all might remember we were having phone calls with national phone calls with sometimes the president was on, President Trump, and President Pence was always on those calls, as well as all the folks up in D.C. and so we were getting a lot of information there, but also we were talking to other governors, particularly Republican governors around the country. We're having conference calls every week. So as a result, we were getting a lot of information and insight into what works, what doesn't work, and those sorts of things. But the plan that this group came up with was our blueprint, and it worked. But it dawned on me as we were going through that, I was wondering why all these other states taking a different approach. And it became clear. Some states, there were two main approaches. One was everything needs to be closed down, no matter what it is. Even if it's somebody selling goldfish on the corner or a lemonade stand, if you can't prove that it is essential to the functioning of the economy, it must be shut down. Therefore, things like the lemonade stand or an outdoor landscaping place or something else where there's zero chance of any spread taking place, if it could not be deemed essential under whatever definition they were using, then it was shut down. And that meant that most everything was shut down in most states and for long periods of time, and they still are in some states. And that included automobile manufacturers in Michigan. It included churches. You may have heard of arrests of preachers holding a church or doing marriage ceremonies, those sorts of things. We took the opposite approach. Our presumption was that nothing should be shut down unless we can show, or we believe, based on the science and the facts, that location, that kind of activity is one that where the spread is likely to occur. And so we had many fewer things shut down than they did at other places. And those that we limited for less periods of time. So we took a deliberate, careful approach, and it worked. And as a result, while some other states are having to dig out of holes that they ended up getting into, we went into the virus with a great economy, and we're coming out almost, not as good, but less than where we went in, but we're on the way up. So we handled that one, I think, all things considered, and looking back on it, I think we handled it the best way, the very best way. So now the question is, what do we do now? Because here comes another, more money coming in different categories. Some will go through the legislative process, the appropriation process, but most of it, of the approximately $8 billion, most of it will not go through that process. So our job is to make recommendations on what the best things are to do with the funds, how to use them. And of course, one of the core things is we want to put, to the extent that we can, to help and encourage others to put these funds, which are an enormous amount of money, put them into things that will have a lasting impact and not just a temporary expenditure. So that's our mission, and I certainly appreciate, I think, speaking for everybody here on behalf of all of us and others that are not here, I really do appreciate your willingness to, again, to come into the arena and help make these decisions and recommendations, because they're very important. We've done so well so far. Now we have another chance. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The last time the recommendations that we made to the General Assembly, they adopted almost all of them. So our track record is very good. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity now with these American Rescue Act funds, which are altogether about as much as we got the first time. The first time, most of the money, $1.9 million, was in the CARES Act. Some went separately to education, but a lot went through the unemployment, different types of unemployment programs. It was a total of about $8 billion altogether. And that's roughly what is in this act again. But we have to use this money and to help the others that we can make recommendations to use it wisely, transparently, nothing secret about it. But we can make transformative investments now to accelerate the prosperity of each and every South Carolinian. So we will have the workforce, the infrastructure, the intellectual capital, the environmental assets, quality of life necessary to compete nationally and globally for jobs and investments for years and years and years to come. So this is a real opportunity for us, for the health and happiness and prosperity of our people. And speaking of happiness,